Good evening. It's great to see you all tonight. Thank you for being here for another one of our great Catholic evangelization outreach evenings. And as always, it's lovely to see our faithful followers here and good friends. And always like to see if there's some new folks in the audience. Is this the first time CEO for anyone tonight? Yay, wonderful. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for taking time on your Sunday evening to be with us. My name is Lisa Bellafato, and I'm a parishioner here at St. Margaret Mary, and I have the honor of representing a team of people, our CEO team, who do such a wonderful job of putting together this series for you all, and we're excited to be with you tonight. Our old friends know we follow a similar format each month, but what will happen is we have a talk here by our speaker in the church, and then we follow it with refreshments and fellowship in the hospitality room afterwards. So we hope you all can join us for there. So it is my pleasure to get to introduce our speaker tonight, Donna Koenig. And Donna was born in the west end of Louisville and lived in the area with her family until they moved to Pleasure Ridge during her junior year at Angela Medici, if I said that right. Marici. All right, well, I got a D in here, so I obviously said that wrong. So Marici. Can you tell I didn't grow up around here? So, okay. In 1969, Donna and Jack got married, and they lived in Louisville, and then they began a little bit of journeying around because they went to Detroit, Michigan, Glendale, California, and Evansville, Indiana. In 1997, Jack and Donna came back here home to retire and to take care of their parents. In 2008, Jack and Donna started training for the diaconate, and Jack was ordained in 2012. Donna and Jack live on a beautiful farm in Baghdad, Kentucky, and they have been blessed with 3 children, Kurt, Sally, and Ann, and 7 grandchildren. Donna's hobbies include quilting and Bible studies. And just on a personal note, I just love the fact that I got to go through CHIRP with Donna, and we do some pastoral care together. And Donna and her family just really are so generous with their time and talent with our parish. So we're very lucky to have them. And I think we're going to be in for a real treat tonight as Donna shares her story about how our Blessed Mother became a constant companion for her through the rosary and prayer. So let's give a warm CEO welcome for Donna.
Good evening. My name is Donna Koenig, and I'm a parishioner here at St. Margaret Mary. As she said, I was born and grew up in the west end of Louisville. I went to St. Peter's Church in school, and I went to Angela Medici. Well, my grade school is gone. My high school is a retreat center, and I worked at Brown & Williamson Tobacco Corporation, which has been moved to South Carolina. As you see, these things started my life wonderfully. And my husband says I'm a jinx because that all happened to me. I was taught by the Ursulines on Lexington Road. My faith was alive because of daily prayer and the rosary. I was at church many days of the week because I worked to clean the church and the sacristy for a nickel a day. Then in October and May, I was there quite a bit because we had a lot of services for our Blessed Mother. I also went to St. Anthony Hospital School of Nursing, but that profession didn't seem to be my cup of tea. So I left, and I got a job at Brown Williamson in the research department, testing cigarettes for nicotine and trying to make them taste better. Later, I worked in the library there, and many days I was at U of L looking up articles on tobacco and health for the PhDs. But as you all know, in the 60s, nobody really wanted to know about tobacco and health. So this was trying to refute the fact that cigarettes were bad for you. From the time I was little until today, the most influential person in my life has and is the Blessed Mother. I've always heard her when I'm down and don't know which way to go. I hear her saying, "Hang in there, it'll get better." I see her face saying, "I'm proud of you." This has been a common occurrence to feel her presence in my life. Growing up into adulthood, I had two people who influenced my life and have been with me always. My Aunt Georgie and her daughter Marlene. Their faith and belief in me gave me what I needed to succeed. Aunt Georgie was my step-in mom. My mom had a hard time in life. She was the 14th child of a very strict father and married very early. She was sick most of my years at home. She was a loving mother to me, but because of her medical problems and her bipolar disorder, she couldn't always be there for me. My Aunt Georgie took over this role. She would sit and talk to me about my problems. In the summer, she would take me to her camp on the Ohio River to get me away from tensions at home. My father was an alcoholic. Life at home was on pins and needles all the time. Since Aunt Georgie and most of my aunts and uncles lived within a block of me, I had a great support system. I think her death hit me harder than my own mom, as Mom had so much sickness that her death was a relief to her and I knew Mary was there to take care of her as I felt her ever-constant presence. My cousin Marlene was a sister to me. She was 10 years older, but was always there to listen to me. These two women and their faith got me through a lot of tough times. Mary was at my side. I had wonderful teachers who gave me my foundation in Mary's love. In grade school, we had this statue. It was plastic. It was about this tall. And in the bottom of it was a rosary. And you could take it home on the weekends. And when it was my turn to take it home, I cherished it. I thought it was the best thing I could ever have. High school was not my thing academically. I did okay in math, loved religion and English, but I wasn't cut out for Spanish. Many of my friends were dating, but it really didn't interest me. I did have one serious relationship senior year of high school. And after high school, he went off to the Army, and when he came home, we ended it. And I became part of the crowd, and the rosary was not part of my life. After finding a job at Brown Williamson, some of my friends introduced me to dancing. I would go out to Whispering Hills on Friday and Sunday nights and dance, and by this time, I was legally able to drink. Religion was only a formality on Sunday. Mary was in the background, but I didn't know it. If I had thought about it, she was there with me every Friday and Sunday night. And on Fridays, I would get home around 1, and I'd have to get up at 5 because I had to be at work at 6 o'clock. I dated some, but never seriously. Something seemed to be holding me back on a commitment. At Christmas 1967, a couple at work asked me to go on a blind date with a friend of theirs who also worked in the research department. I thought he was younger than I, that this was not going to work. This person turned out to be Jack Koenig, my husband of 50 years. We dated for about 6 months, and he broke it off because he had a lady friend in West Virginia. It wasn't long before I was on my knees every night asking Mary, if this is the one, show me the way. I was invited to a mutual friend's birthday party at Thanksgiving. I showed up with a date. He came without a date because his girlfriend couldn't come. My date had just had surgery on his knee, and he was a wonderful guy from Fort Knox that knew my situation, but just said he'd go with me and he would do the best he could to make Jack jealous. When Jack had to go to work that night, he called many times to see how I was and what was going on. The next day, he called me to go to a family get-together. That was the turning point. We got engaged on Valentine's Day and were married July 26, 1969, which is the feast of St. Anne and Joachim, the parents of Blessed Mother. Jack has always said he had nothing to do with this, that this relationship was a divine intervention. We didn't have a prayer life, but we did pray the rosary in the car when we were together. We tried to have children, but after 2.5 years, decided to seek medical help. We were told we couldn't have children and should consider adoption. After this, we went on a vacation to the Smoky Mountains, and not long after, I had another appointment with the doctor. I'm on the table with my feet up in stirrups, and he says, "You're pregnant." I sat up straight, and I looked him in the eye, and I said, "That couldn't be." And he looked at me, and he said, "I didn't do it." So in January of 1973, we had our first miracle, a son, followed by 2 daughters in 1975 and 78. Mary was stepping in again. When I married Jack, I knew that his parents were going to be a pivotal part of our relationship. They went to church daily and also prayed the rosary. Their love and mutual respect gave us something to strive for in our marriage. My mother-in-law loved her 18 grandchildren and over 30 great-grandchildren. Their house was the first place you went after you went home from the hospital. At her bedside when she died were the 3 youngest children of her 3 children. And none of us knew that all 3 of those were pregnant. We knew Mary had stepped in again. In 2008, we had the seed planted to go into the diaconate. A friend of ours who went to the parish in Shelbyville, where we were, asked Jack, "Have you ever thought about joining the diaconate?" Well, we went off on a 3-month trip to Florida, which we did every year, and Jack took the application with him, but he wasn't too interested in filling it out. I don't know whether you know, but this is a decision that the man does not make. This is made in conjunction with the wife. We have to go to all of the pre-testing, and we go to all the classes during formation. The devil worked hard to get us to say no, but Mary had her way, and Jack was ordained in August of 2012. We knew we would not be assigned to our parish, as there was no need for 4 deacons in Shelbyville or Eminence. We looked around, and with much prayer and the permission of the Archbishop, we were assigned to Margaret Mary. We have found many ways to fulfill our ministry with RCIA, teaching public school children about God, going to St. Vincent de Paul, and St. Jude Home for Recovering Women. Mary became a constant companion through the rosary and prayer. During our 2nd year of the diaconate training, we were asked to step out of our comfort zone, reach out to those in need. We decided to go to St. Vincent de Paul, where Jack assisted with a men's alcohol recovery program, and I worked at St. Jude's, answering the phone, manning the door, and taking donations. Many of these women that are there have never learned what we learned as children: how to cook, how to take care of ourselves, and then they have children and they have no idea how to take care of them. I met one woman who really touched me. She was around my age and loved to cook, which many of the women didn't know how to do. She would prepare scrumptious meals with what they had on hand, and she would ask me to join her in the preparation. We talked about how God had been such a part of our lives, especially hers, since she was in recovery. It was a humbling experience and one that opened my eyes to my dependence on God and Mary. She became role model to many of these women, just as Mary was a role model for me. During our 2nd year of the diaconate, we went on retreat in August, and the wives and the husbands go, and we have a moderator. And on this time, we had Father Joe Merkt. Well, I was due to have my first back surgery on the following week. So he decided that because of this, we would not have our last session as part of the retreat. He was going to have a prayer service. So we all met in the chapel. I sat down in the chair, and they all put their hands on me. Well, During that time, I lost all my pain. I had been excruciating pain all weekend long. I had lost my pain. Well, after the talk, after the session, one of our deacon wives came up to me and she said, I had the most excruciating pain while this was on. I said, well, I lost mine. And we, between the two of us, stood there and cried. And she and I became very close after that. And our class had many moments during our time of formation that we became so close together that we're more than just a deacon class. We're brothers and sisters. 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I took the diagnosis and treatment as a way of connecting with Christ through Mary. It was not an easy road, and I admit I was scared. I relied on Mary to do God's will. When after treatment and subsequent testing, I realized I must have something to do. Maybe bringing his mother to all of you is that mission. After treatment and follow-up testing, I was told I was clear of cancer. In 2018, I came across a note in the bulletin about an 8-week retreat called 33 Days of Morning Glory, a study by Father Michael Gately. Our youth minister, Brian King, was offering it. For 33 days, you read meditations about St. Louis de Montfort, Maximilian Kolbe, St. Mother Teresa, and St. John Paul II and their devotion to Mary. The study helped me to realize that Mary was always beside me and always had an influence in my life. On December 8th of 2018, the Feast of the Immaculate Conception, I consecrated myself to her to give my whole being to her just as she said yes to God. One of the prayers is, Holy Spirit, living in Mary, prepare me to be a fit instrument in the hands of the Immaculata. I learned that by giving myself over to Mary, she would lead me to a closer relationship to her Son. Mary began her journey at the Annunciation, and she became the Church's mother at the foot of the cross on Calvary, when Christ said in John's Gospel, Woman, behold your son. Son, behold your mother. That announcement was not only for St. John and the apostles, but it was for us as member of his body, the church. I have suffered many years with back pain and had 5 surgeries, and recently had a neurostimulator implanted, which gives me some relief. There are many mornings that it's difficult to get up, and I have a difficulty walking and can barely get to the sink. During this time, I rely on her intercession and seek her help. Through the retreat, I learned to give my suffering to Mary, who will use my suffering to alleviate the sufferings of others. It's hard to comprehend, but it is a way of giving service to others. Recently, I was having a hard time, and Father Bill told me to go sit in front of the statue of the Holy Family in church. I looked into Mary's eyes. With a glorious smile, she said, I feel your pain. On the Feast of Christ the King, we were in Columbus, Ohio with our daughter Sally and her family. The Mass that night touched my soul. I sat in the pew and heard the priest say in his homily to look at the crucifix and say to Jesus, I love you, I love you, I love you. I heard him say to me, I love you more, and I will be with you until you are with me in heaven. Jesus was standing beside him, smiling with those eyes full of so much love and compassion. She was there with me to help me fulfill my promise to her and her son. I would like to invite you to get to know our Blessed Mother. I feel this mission is my calling. Mary evolved slowly in my life. She is with you, and if you listen to her, she will be there in good times and bad and never leave your side. She has shown me the way to fulfill my promise to her and her son by being here today. As many of you may notice, I wear a cross of thorns. This is to remind me of Christ's suffering on the cross and Mary's suffering at the foot of the cross. I am sure she went out to spread the good news of her son, just as I have tried to do for you tonight. Thank you.
Donna, thank you so much. Just an inspiring talk. I think, I know there are several of us here, many of us that have a close connection to, I finally call our Blessed Mother Mama Mary, and she's just such a beautiful way, to Jesus through Mary, and thank you for sharing your story of how she's guided your life. And then as Mary did, she said the ultimate yes, that you've said yes to her and to Jesus to really and share his love with us. So thank you very much, Donna. Maybe another round of applause for Donna and her story tonight. Thank you. So we're wrapping up this portion of our program in the church. We're getting ready to go over to the Hospitality Center for some refreshments and fellowship there. What we would like, if you would mark your calendar for our next CEO event, which is April 28th, and Mike Wagner will be our speaker, and he's going to share his experience of how we must be prepared to say yes to God's call, even if we aren't always ready to do that. So I think that's going to be another great talk. Before we do wrap up, I do want to just thank the CEO team. There's a lot of folks that put this together, go over and get the refreshments set up, and our ushers in the back, and Donna and Lou for, where's my other Donna? Somewhere there. There she is in the back. Roger and Donna organizing this and bringing us here. So thank you all for the hard work that you do for bringing this program to us, and again to the Bartleys for sharing your talents. And the team would like to just say a little thank you to you all for taking time out of your night to be here with us. We do appreciate it. And we have a couple little gifts for you that you can get on your way to the Hospitality Center. 30 Days of Prayer with Mary, and then a How to Pray the Rosary pamphlet. So please make sure you get that. And thank you. We'll see you over there, and hopefully get to see you on April 28th. So thank you for your time tonight. Have a great evening.